I guess it's safe to say that Agatha at least did bring the band together. This is the review of champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Sakar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, we have the original, Mr. Taylor first. How are you, man?
I am great, thank you.
Mm. Voice only, we have Mr. Lord Deathman. How are you?
I'm magical.
Mm, nice. And also voice only, last but not least, Loki's mom. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and I'm enchanting.
Ooh, spooky. Today we're going to talk about episode 4 of Agatha All Along, running on Disney Plus at the moment. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our forum at Sakar, sakar.freeforums.net. There's a link in the description. You can click it. You can set then up an account and join our show if you want to, but at least talk to us on the forum. We would love it if you do that. Consider this your final warning. After this point, the spoilers are incoming. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, do that first and then check out our review. This week, another house, another challenge, another musical number. Kinda, it's the same in a different arrangement. Taylor, what did you think of this week's episode of Agatha All Along?
I really loved this episode. I think it was a lot of fun. I think they did some really cool things, and they brought back what's her name in the show, Ria Vidal. They brought back
Yeah.
Rio Vidal in the show,
Mm-hmm.
and they also gave us a lot of information. So I really liked this episode.
Mm. Loki's mom, did you dig the 60s outfits on the girls?
Oh yeah, I used to dress that way.
Mm.
Maybe not quite so provocatively, but
Mhm.
yeah, the bell bottoms and everything. That's real the '70s sort of glam rock look. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was like it's consistent so far. I mean, we're in the 4th episode, and it hasn't dipped in quality at all. So, really good episode.
Mm. Lord Deathman, how did you like
I
6 episodes?
I enjoyed this episode. Probably not as much as some of the previous episodes we've seen, and I've got some minor grievances with the show overall. But this episode, by and large, very entertaining, fun to watch. And I think, yeah, I am still all in terms of this show. Just to be clear with everyone.
Okay, Agatha all along, Lord Deathman all in. Okay, I like it. Loki's mom, did you have any negatives on this week's episode, or and what were your major positives about this week's episode?
Well, here again, I don't really have any negatives. Yeah, maybe it was just a little repetitious. Again, we get another house and we get another costume change, and so I don't know if this is going to be going forward what they're going to do. But I thought, well, why are they doing that again? They could have stayed in the forest, but otherwise, I mean, no, it was. Yeah, I actually enjoyed the musical number. I don't not as much as I enjoyed the first time they did it, but despite it being a musical number, I mean, it is part of the spell. This is how they do their magic using that song, so it's part of the show. Um, Negatives, I don't know. I really didn't see any negatives. Other than just a little bit of repetition there. It was again, Catherine Hahn is just wonderful. Um, they brought the other young lady. I can't think of her name. I keep forgetting her name.
Aubrey Plaza?
Aubrey Plaza. Yeah, bless her heart. I apologize, Aubrey. But anyway, yeah, she's great. I mean, finally she's back in the story, and we see a little bit more of her relationship with Agatha. And oh my gosh, at the end where she just stabs the knife, puts the knife in her. About Teen not being her son, and you could just see Agatha, she's getting ready to go. She's psycho. She's as psycho as any of the characters that come along in these types of comic book stories. But yeah, you can see she's really starting to unhinge a little bit more than what she already is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lord Deathman, you had some minor grievances, you say. What were they?
Well, and I think overall I really did like this episode. For someone who doesn't appreciate musicals, I find myself consistently liking the musical numbers in this show, so I don't know what's going on there. But once again, we seem to be in an age of villains. We've got the Penguin, we've got Joker, we've got Agatha. So something about this moment, the zeitgeist wants to be about villains. And I think that this is a show that handles the villain part right. It doesn't try to make her into a hero. She still is conniving and is a climber in terms of her situation, and doesn't seem to have a lot of rapport with her colleagues that are trying to be on this quest as well. My
But
grievance is,
if I may interject,
sure.
pardon, as a non-comic book reader, I'm interested. But didn't I understand it right that Agatha Harkness was not always a villain in the comics? Sometimes she was also on the side of, well, the good guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You could even have called her a hero at some points in the comic book. But for the most part, I think she was more like a neutral party that tended to support villains or wherever her interest lies. She wasn't one of these power villains that had a huge cause like a Magneto or anything like that. But if she could benefit from a situation in the comic books, she usually tried to.
Okay.
So
Please continue.
but my grievances go like this. I'll just rattle them off real quick. One is I think this is just getting a little too far away from the superhero genre, right? So we're questing with these witches that are trying to get to the road. There's no real sense of a villain. There's no sense of an arc where the hero may change in a certain way by the end of this story. I'm sure all of that's kind of coming, but as it is right now, there's a disconnect I feel from the MCU as a whole and just from the genre of superheroes as an even bigger whole. So a minor grievance though, because I think as we go along with the story, things are going to kind of go in that direction. And then the only other thing is that when I think about this material, if it wasn't being supported by the talent involved, like the great writing that Jack Schaefer is leading with her writers room on, the great production that we're seeing in terms of the special effects, the practical work there, the great work from the actors that are on the show, this would not be something that I would be interested in. It just simply wouldn't be a show that I would be watching if it wasn't up to the level of quality that they're producing it at across all of the different categories. But again, great episode. I mean, I think the escape room trope could get tired if they do it one more time. Like if we're in another house next episode and we kind of have to follow the formula of a musical song, solve some puzzles, then I think we would have worn out of our welcome. But for right now, in the last two episodes, it's felt really good, really a good space for the storytelling. And I guess top moment for me, if I had to choose, was the introduction of our Green Witch. I think Aubrey Plaza, outside of maybe Emily the Criminal, this is probably some of the best work I've seen her do dramatically. She's just really incredible, and she's rivaling Catherine Hahn. So this is a where you get a showcase of just two great actors that know I've got to stay on my toes because the other one is just doing such incredible work.
Yeah. Speaking of the Aubrey Plaza character, I saw a theory, and that theory could very well make Loki's mom and me right. Because I saw the theory that Sharon Davis is still alive. It was always Rio, and Rio's actually deaf. The character, deaf. So Taylor, what do you think about that?
It's a theory.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Anything is possible. It could very well be. I mean, they would
Mm.
have to come up with a reason for
Yeah.
it. For her imitating Mrs. Hart there but
Yeah.
like I said, anything can happen at this point. We're really, barely into it now. We still got what, 5 episodes left, so we have a lot to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of escape rooms still to come, I fear.
More escape rooms.
Yeah, but anyway, did you have any negatives this week about the episode?
No, not really any negatives. There was what I loved. I love how each challenge, each obstacle puts them in a different era and a different genre, if you want to put it that way, but more like a different era in time, a different situation that is sort of a trope or a familiar situation. And what I loved about this one is, they find the house / music studio, recording studio, and they go in there and they changed into a late 1960s, early 1970s motif, and of course music is a huge part of it because, music was such a massive part of pop culture in that time period. And then how they had to use the song to defeat the curse and the demon monster. It just, and while they were doing it, how the monster appears and he sets the place on fire and he's trying to stop them. It really reminded me of things like the Beatles' Yellow Submarine cartoon where they defeated the Blue Meanies by singing "All You Need Is Love," or the Monkees would often defeat villains while singing a song. Josie and the Pussycats would always defeat villains by somehow playing a song and doing a musical number. And while it was going on, it almost made me, I was half expecting the music video to cut to a long hallway with doors on each side where they were going to crisscross back and forth like Scooby-Doo getting chased by the demon as the music was playing. I had all of those feels to it. And I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. I liked the remix on the song. I thought it was fun. I liked the whole story with the woman whose mother was the musician and who wrote the song. How now she has overcome her challenge. The previous week was the other witch, the potion witch, had to overcome her challenge. And of course, the challenge that the situation they go into, of course, somehow directly links to their problem and their challenge that they have to go over. They also, in addition to all of the stuff with the demon and the curse and everything, there was a lot of good conversations going on. The conversation in the recording room there between Agatha and Rio, where Agatha tricked her into saying stuff while the microphone was on, and tried to trick the other Dritches into thinking Agatha had reformed and she really cared about her coven. And of course, we all know she doesn't. She's just using them to get power. I thought that was good. Now, I do have a little thought about the moment at the end, because when she said that boy isn't yours, it could be straightforward, meaning that is not your son, never was your son. All right. It could be a straight up lie, or it could mean that boy's not yours anymore. You gave him away. And I still think they can go a couple different directions on that.
Yeah, I still think it's Wiccan.
We'll see. Could be.
Yeah, he's out for revenge for his mom, something, or he wants to bring his mom back. Let's just say it like that. And there may be Wanda at the end. I'm still hoping. But Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen in one show, maybe that's even asking too much of a good thing. But anyway, Lokismom, you had a follow.
Yeah, I did learn something new. I didn't know that a zill is also called a triangle, or a triangle is also called a zill.
Well, her instruments kept changing. She started with the little symbol things, and then the triangle, and then she had maracas going. Man, it was all. It was excellent.
Patty Lupone is a multi-talent.
Well, if they're going to keep the musical thing going, I hope they give Patty Lupone her solo, because she is a fantastic singer, a great performer, done tons of Broadway shows and things like that. I mean, she really comes from that genre, and so hopefully she'll get her spotlight.
Hopefully, the next episode will be her challenge, and
Mhm.
she'll use a song of some sort to tell us why she has Tourette's syndrome and she keeps shouting things out.
Yeah, I did feel that Aubrey Plaza was not really into it. There was no passion in her drum play. But anyway, I've
She
seen
did it
that.
well, though.
Yeah,
She was phoning it in, but she still did the job.
That's true. Okay, people, I think it's time to move on to rating. For good order, we're rating the episode, not the musical song. Okay? Lord Deathman, can I have your number?
Absolutely. I'm going to give this episode a 7. I think it was pretty solid. Favorite moment. I love the protection circles that get made around people to help them avert the curse as that was going around. I thought that was pretty clever and ingenious there. And then dramatically, I like the exchanges between I want to get into the past between Rio and Agatha to see what that was all about.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, like in episode 6 or 7, they will do that a few episodes before the end. Taylor.
Agatha is Rio's scar, apparently, whatever that story meant. But I'm giving this episode a solid 9 out of 10.
Well, that's a high number. Loki's mom.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, fair enough. Actually, I'm also going to give it an 8. I really enjoyed this episode. I do hope they will mix it up a little bit in the next episode, because another escape room, I can wait until episode 6 for that. Otherwise, it gets a little bit, repetitive, and we don't want that. That will conclude this week's episode of Review of Champions for episode 4 of Agatha All Along. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, you can help us out. Like and share this review and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really want more of us, join us at sakar.freeforms.net. We would love it if you do that. Check out our other review series for The Penguin and Rings of Power. And there's a review for Joker Folie 2 as well coming up. And if that isn't enough, episode 10 of the Star Trek project on Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country is also coming out this weekend. So for now, I want to thank you all, also on behalf of our champions, and wish you to be magical. Bye.